The Galactic Academy's training facility hummed with activity as beings from across the known systems pushed their bodies to their limits. Towering Korthax warriors lifted gravitational weights that could crush lesser species, while sleek Zenari, dancers moved through combat forms with liquid grace. In the corner, however, sat Ana Martinez, a small human girl who looked entirely out of place among the galaxy's elite. Verk Catharin adjusted his thermal regulation suit and watched the human with barely concealed disdain. As a proud member of the Valorian Guard, he stood nearly 3 meters tall, his crystalline exoskeleton gleaming under the facility's bioluminescent lighting. His people were renowned throughout the galaxy as the strongest warriors, their bodies naturally evolved for combat on high-gravity worlds. "I still don't understand why Command accepted a human into the Advanced Combat Program," Verk muttered to his training partner Zex. "Look at her. She's barely half my size. Those fragile bone structures, that weak muscle density. It's almost insulting." Ana continued her warm-up routine, seemingly oblivious to the whispered conversations around her. She had heard it all before, on Earth, in the transport ships, and now here at the Academy. Humans were the newcomers to the galactic community, and their reputation preceded them. Weak, soft, short-lived creatures from a backwater planet. The morning's exercise was announced by Instructor Thalon, a 4-armed Nexari whose species had developed their strength through generations of climbing, their world's massive crystal formations. "Today's challenge is simple," Thalon's voice resonated through the chamber. "The grip of endurance. You must maintain your hold on the gravitational resistance bar for as long as possible. The weight will increase progressively until only one remains." Verk's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. This was exactly the kind of test that would expose the human's limitations. The grip of endurance was legendary, a test of pure strength and will that had broken warriors twice Ana's size. The contestants lined up at their designated stations. Each gravitational resistance bar hummed with contained energy, ready to simulate the crushing gravity of the galaxy's most hostile worlds. Ana took her position between a massive Gordanian whose arms were thicker than her entire torso, and a silicate warrior whose metallic skin gleamed with internal heat. "Begin," Thalon commanded. The bars activated, and immediately several of the smaller species began to strain. Ana gripped her bar with both hands, her knuckles whitening as the artificial gravity kicked in. Around her, grunts and clicks of effort filled the air. Verk watched with smug anticipation as the weight increased. First to fall were the ethereal wisps. Their gaseous forms simply couldn't maintain the necessary density. Then the Aquarian delegates, followed by the crystal singers. Each elimination was met with respectful nods. Everyone understood their own species' limitations. The weight doubled, then tripled. Ana's arms trembled, but she held on. Verk was impressed despite himself. The human was lasting longer than expected. But this was just the beginning. At 5 times standard gravity, half the remaining contestants had fallen. Ana's breathing was labored, sweat beading on her forehead, but her grip remained firm. The Gordanian beside her was starting to show strain, his massive arms quivering slightly. "Interesting," Verk admitted to himself. "But this is where it ends for her." The gravity increased to 8 times standard. The silicate warrior's metallic fingers began to slip, the heat from friction causing small sparks to fly. With a grinding sound of defeat, he released the bar and stepped back. Only 12 contestants remained, 10 times standard gravity. The Gordanian's breathing became ragged, his thick muscles bulging with effort. With a thunderous crash, he collapsed, unable to maintain his hold. 8 contestants left. Ana looked impossibly small among the remaining warriors, but she was still there. Her right arm was shaking violently now, tendons standing out like cables under her skin. Verk found himself leaning forward, studying her technique. 15 times standard gravity. The Nexari warrior beside Ana, a cousin species to their instructor, finally succumbed. His 4 arms, each individually stronger than Ana's entire body, could no longer bear the crushing force. 5 contestants remained. "This is impossible," Zex whispered to Verk. "How is she still holding on?" Verk didn't answer. He was too busy, watching something extraordinary unfold. Anna's left arm was failing, the muscles no longer able to respond to her commands. Any moment now she would have to release the bar and accept defeat. Instead, Anna did something that sent a shockwave through the watching crowd. She let go with her left hand. "What is she doing?" someone gasped. Anna was now holding the bar, with only her right hand, supporting 15 times standard gravity with a single grip. But more than that, she was adjusting her stance, shifting her weight. Her breathing, instead of becoming more labored, seemed to be steadying. 20 times standard gravity. 2 more contestants fell, their alien physiologies finally reaching their breaking points. Only Anna and one other remained, Gorath the Destroyer, a legendary Brutalian warrior whose species was genetically engineered for combat. Gorath looked at the small human girl beside him with something approaching respect. His own people could lift starship components with their bare hands, yet here was this fragile creature, matching him hold for hold, 25 times standard gravity. Gorath's breathing became a thunderous bellow. His grip was slipping. With a roar of frustration, he released the bar and stumbled backward. Anna stood alone. The facility had fallen completely silent except for the hum of the gravitational field. Anna's right arm was the only thing keeping her upright as 30 times standard gravity pressed down on the bar. Her face was serene now, focused inward on something the others couldn't see. "How?" Verk whispered. Instructor Thalan approached, slowly, his forearms crossed in a gesture of deep respect. "You may release the bar, Anna Martinez. You have more than proven yourself." Anna looked up at him and smiled, an expression that seemed impossibly bright given the crushing force she was enduring. "Actually, Instructor," she said, her voice steady despite everything, "I think I can hold this a bit longer." She wasn't boasting. She wasn't showing off. She was simply stating a fact as if she were commenting on the weather. The gravity increased to 35 times standard. Anna's grip remained firm. It was then that Verk began to understand something profound about humans, something that raw strength measurements and physiological scans could never reveal. He thought about the stories he'd heard, humans who lifted vehicles to save trapped children, soldiers who fought on despite grievous wounds, explorers who walked across continents just to see what was on the other side. 40 times standard gravity. Anna was still holding on. "It's not about the strength of her muscles," Verk murmured, the realization hitting him like a plasma blast. "It's about the strength of her will." Anna finally released the bar at 45 times standard gravity, not because she had to, but because Instructor Thalan had manually shut down the system. As she straightened up, rolling her shoulder to work out the stiffness, she looked around at the stunned faces surrounding her. "Good workout," she said simply, then walked over to grab her water bottle. The silence stretched on for several more seconds before exploding into a cacophony of amazed voices, clicking mandibles, and harmonic tones of respect from dozens of species. Verk found himself applauding, something he'd never expected to do, for a human. As Anna walked past him toward the exit, Verk caught her attention. "Anna Martinez," he called out, his voice carrying more respect than he'd ever shown a human before. I was wrong about your species." Anna paused and looked up at the towering Valorian warrior. "You weren't wrong about our physical limitations," she replied. "We are small and fragile and weak, but you missed something important." "What's that?" Anna's smile was enigmatic. "We don't know when to quit." As she walked away, Verk stared after her, a new understanding settling in his crystalline consciousness. Throughout the galaxy, species were defined by their advantages: the Valorian's strength, the Zanari's speed, the Nexari's dexterity. But humans were defined by their refusal to accept their disadvantages. And perhaps, Verk thought as he watched Anna disappear into the corridor, that made them the most dangerous species of all.